appearances, I take pleas. The plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. Guilty basically means that you're admitting guilt, and what I'll do is I'll review the police report if there's a factual basis, accept your guilty plea, and find you guilty. A no contest plea is similar to a guilty plea, but you're not admitting guilt, but you want it to end tonight. I will review the police report if there's a factual basis. I will accept your no contest plea and then find you guilty. No contest plea should be used if you're in a traffic accident or in an altercation or some type of, which no contest plea prevents you from people say if you get sued at a later date, they can't admit, you don't admit your guilt, so they can't use that no contest plea against you to determine guilt. The other plea is not guilty. That means that you believe the city or municipality cannot prove its case. Or that you were not accused of the cite, they won't be able to prove the elements of the citation. At that point, I accept your not guilty plea and schedule a matter with for a pretrial conference with the prosecutor. That's the basics for initial appearances. So Mary, who's the first case?
Anthony Sloan. I will unmute him. I'm sure. Mr. Sloan, can you hear me? There you go. Excellent. There he is.
Okay, we'll call the case of City of Stoughton versus Anthony Sloan. I'll note that Mr. Sloan, you're present here. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Sloan, I will note that you appear via a Zoom, an audio link. Let me bring up my police reports. Basically, Mr. Sloan, I want to make sure that I have your address correct.
Yes, sir.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
The Zoom box is in the way of the cursor, so it's going to take a little bit. All right.
Hello.
Let's see. Okay, Mr. Sloan, do we have, it's Kenilworth, is that still your proper address?
Yes, sir. Apartment
All right.
10, sir.
I'm sorry?
Apartment 10, sir.
Okay, sure. You received a citation for speeding on a city highway. That citation carries a penalty of 16 to 19 miles an hour over the limit. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a 4-point citation. 4 points cover 11 to 19 miles an hour over the limit. Now, the forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. You're actually $50 plus cost. You're at the not quite at the minimum, but fairly close. Do you understand that as well?
Well, I'm not sure. It said on here $124 on the ticket.
Right. That is actually $50 plus costs. So the citation is actually $50, but then we have to pay. The citation has to pay. There's other items that get paid off of that citation: jail and crime lab, county, state, etc. So that's actually $50 plus costs. Does that make it more clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now the court gives a 10-mile-an-hour leeway for these. So instead of 16 to 19 miles an hour over the limit, the court would reduce this to 1 to 10 over. Now, essentially what that is if you were in a not guilty plea and meet with the prosecutor would make the same offer. The reason why we do that is that the prosecutor and the court have reached kind of an informal agreement that I can make the same offer that they make at the pretrial conference. Now, you can always enter a not guilty plea, but the court is willing to offer a 1 to 10 over the limit. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And that would result in 3 demerit points rather than 4.
Okay, sir. Continue.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the speeding citations?
No.
All right. Now is the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
I thought it was in my best interest to say not guilty.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll accept your not guilty plea, and I'll schedule the matter for a pretrial conference with the city attorney. Now, you'll get a notice from the court, and then the pretrial conference will be held by phone. Now, make sure that you call in and make arrangements to see if you and the prosecutor can resolve it. But the problem is, you understand that so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you miss or fail to appear at the initial appearance date, unfortunately, prosecutor will tell me that you didn't appear, and I'll find you in default, which means I'll find you guilty. So make sure that you appear at the pretrial conference via phone.
Okay. When will that be, sir?
Mary?
When will that be?
Oh, I'm asking my clerk.
Oh, I'll have to get that scheduled. It'll be sometime after September 1st.
Yep, sometime in September.
Oh, okay. So you'll call me and send me the correct documentation so I can make sure I don't miss it?
We'll send you a letter. So watch out for the mail.
I will do that, sir.
Okay. With no further questions, Mr. Sloan, that will take care of it for this evening, and you can go ahead and hang up.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate
right.
your attention.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Number 2 is Catherine Grabarek, I believe is pronounced. Let me mute her. There she is.
Okay, this is Miss Catherine Grabarek. Can you hear me okay, Miss Grabarek?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you were also cited for speeding. Let me pull up just the basics of this. What I do is I pull up your address just to verify that we have the correct one. Okay, Miss Grabarek, correct address on Aurora Avenue in Fitchburg?
Yes.
Okay, you are cited for speeding on a city highway. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, according to the citation, the speeding you've been cited for speeding on a city highway 20 to 24 over. That results in a 6 demerit points a citation and a forfeiture of $149.20. Now, the range on this, do you understand all that? 6 points and $149.20?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the forfeiture range on these speeding citations is $30 to $300. You're actually at $70 plus cost. Now, for the $70 plus cost, the court collects $70 and has to distribute the rest of that. So basically, $79.20 go to other agencies, and the city keeps $70. That's how the forfeiture is broken down. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the court gives a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. So this is 6 points. The court would usually, with the 10-mile-an-hour leeway, would result in 11 to 19 miles an hour limit, which would be 4 points instead of 6. And then basically, because if you were in a not guilty plea, the prosecutor would likely make the same offer. So the prosecutor and the court have decided that rather than have a lot of these pretrial conferences, that the court make the same offer. So you're facing a forfeiture of $149.20, but 11 to 19 over limit, which would be 4 points instead of 6. Do you understand that?
So I still will have a $149.20 fine, but I would be reduced to 4 points instead of 6. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
The reason why is as a judge, I can't bargain with the forfeitures. Only the city attorney can do that.
Okay.
All right. Any questions for the court?
So if I plead guilty, I'm accepting the 4 points over the 6 points.
Correct. Or no contest. Okay. Either a no contest or guilty plea. I would amend the citation to 11 to 19 over, which would be 4 points instead of 6. Correct.
Okay.
All right. With no further questions, now is the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Guilty.
Okay. You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Yeah.
All right. Let me read the police report. I want to make sure there's a factual basis for your plea.
Okay.
Okay. I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. And I will impose the forfeiture of $149.20. And I'll consider that was 11 and 19 over, which would be 4 points instead of 6. Just for my information, let's see, Ms. Grabarek, do you have a probationary license?
No.
Okay. Probation, I should have asked that before, but probationary license is the second moving citation doubles. Just kind of FYI. Okay. Anything else do you have anything you like to say to the court?
No, sir.
Okay. How much time do you need to pay for the citation?
2 weeks.
I'll give you 30 days.
60 days. is
60.
what we
I'll
can
give
do.
you 60 days and we'll send out notice to your address.
Okay, so 4 points and 149.20, and I have 60 days to pay that.
That is all correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you can go ahead and hang up. Thank you for appearing in court tonight.
Thanks.
The next person is Denise Green. Here she is.
Okay, Ms. Green, this is Judge Matt Rothy. I'm with the Stoughton Municipal Court. You're appearing as an initial appearance. Let me pull up your report. Ms. Green, do I have your correct address on Jefferson Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
Okay, you're facing a citation for assault on a person by an animal. This citation carries a penalty of $187. Now, that's $100 plus costs. The forfeiture range on this, the lowest is $50 plus costs and the highest is $1,000 plus costs. So you're on the low end of the scale. Do you understand that?
Yep.
Do you understand what assault on a, let's see, make sure I get this right. Assault on a person by an animal is?
But my dog didn't bite a person, it bit another dog.
Oh, hang on, you can't, so assault on another animal. So I can't hear too much. The prosecutor is not here, so I only appear one side, so I can't learn too much about the case. The reason why is if I learn too much about the case, then I can prejudge it. And if I prejudge it, then I have to, I can't make a decision on the case. So then I would have to recuse myself. So, but it's my understanding that you've been cited for some type of damage your animal did. Other than that, I don't know anything else about the citation.
Right.
Okay. So usually at this point, I usually take a plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
So the ticket says that my dog bit a person, right?
Right. If you have any doubts, about the citation, what you probably should do is enter a not guilty plea. That way we can schedule for a pretrial conference with the city attorney. If the city attorney and you reach an agreement, then they'll submit the agreement to me, and I usually, almost always approve the agreements. There's been a couple exceptions, but it's usually the case. But if you can't agree, reach an agreement, then the matter is set for a trial.
Okay, then I'm going to plead not guilty.
Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll send out notice to your address of a not guilty plea. We'll schedule the matter for a pretrial conference. Now, I'm going to order that both parties appear at the pretrial conference. So we'll mail you instructions. Make sure that you follow the instructions and appear by phone. If you don't, the city prosecutor would tell me that you didn't appear. I'll find you default and I'll find you guilty, and I'll impose that $187 forfeiture. So you want to make sure that you appear.
Okay, I will, yeah.
Okay, with that, I think that will take care of it for this evening. You can go ahead and hang up.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Green.
Bye.
Next is Lisa Stouffer.
Hello.
Good evening, Ms. Stouffer. This is Judge Matt Rothy with the Stoughton Municipal Court. I pull up people's addresses, so I want to make sure that I got the proper addresses here. All right, Ms. Stouffer. Is it Stouffer or Stauffer?
It's Stouffer, and my Zoom is misspelled, if that confuses you.
No, that's what I saw with I thought if there was with 2 Fs, I thought it might be pronounced a little differently then. So.
Yeah, nope.
All right, Ms. Stouffer, do I have your correct address on Rankin Road in McFarland?
Yep, that's me.
Okay, you've been cited for speeding on a city highway 20 to 24 miles over the limit. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you understand that 20 to 24 over, you understand that level of speed as well?
Yes.
Okay, that the speeding 20 to 24 over, the forfeiture on this is $149.20 and 6 demerit points issued your driver's license. Now the $149.70, that's $70 plus costs. The forfeiture range on these are $30 to $300. So you're not at the minimum, but you're not at the maximum. You're not quite at the middle, but that's a fairly significant fine amount. Do you understand that as well?
I do, yes.
Okay. Now, you understand that this is a 6-point forfeiture, and you cannot accumulate 12 or more points in a year, otherwise you lose your license. You understand that as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the court gives defendants a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. The reason why is that if you were to enter a pretrial conference, a lot of times you would receive the same offer from the city. What the court and the prosecutor have done is just kind of streamline the issue, in that it can avoid a lot of pretrial conferences and trials by just giving a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. So in other words, if you were to plead no contest or guilty of this, I would amend the citation to 11 to 19 over the limit, which would result in 4 demerit points rather than 6. Understand that?
I do.
The forfeiture would stay the same at $149.20.
Yes.
Okay, so you understand the whole 10-mile-an-hour leeway process?
Yes.
Okay, any questions for the court?
Nope, I don't believe so.
Okay, now is the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
So I would like to take what you're offering with the estimated points going down to 4.
Right, that would be 11 to 19. So if you want to enter a plea, but you don't want to admit guilt, the plea suggestion I would have would be a no contest plea.
That's the same thing?
Yes. In other words,
Yes.
you're not admitting guilt, but you want it to be over with tonight.
Yes, that would be great. And
Okay.
it's still going to be 149 for
Correct.
the cost.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I will enter the no contest plea. Thank you.
Okay. You understand, though, with a no contest plea, I'll review the police report, and if there's enough evidence there, I'll find you guilty.
Sure.
All right. Let me review the police report. I want to make sure there's a factual basis for your plea. All right. I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. I'll accept your no contest plea and find you guilty of speeding 11 to 19 over the limit, which is 4 points. Also assess a forfeiture of $149.20. Ms. Stouffer, is there anything you'd like to say before? Is there anything else you'd like to tell the court?
No, thank you.
Okay. 60 days to pay. Is that sufficient?
That will work.
Okay, we'll send out the notice, make sure that you pay the citation within 60 days.
Is that something that can be paid with a credit card, or do you have to write a check, or?
Credit card is fine.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You can go ahead and hang up.
Thanks.
The next person is Parisa Wade.
Okay.
Just checking to have her unmute. Oh, looks like she's in the waiting room for some reason. That's weird. Oh, okay, there she is. You changed
Parisa
the
Wade?
video. Okay.
Oh, can we hear
I
her?
have to disconnect this other one. Okay. All right.
Okay. Miss Wade, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now. Great. Great. So,
Yes.
all right. My name is Matt
Oh, I
Rothie.
can't hear you. Hold on.
Oh,
Just one moment. I
Certainly.
can't hear. I could hear you, then it went out.
can you hear me now?
No, and my thing is all the way up. It's like you're very low.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you enough. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll put my face right up to the screen. Miss Wade, my name is Matt Rothie, and I'm the judge for Stoughton Municipal Court.
Okay.
You've received a citation for speeding. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to review the beginning part of your citation for your address. Miss Wade, do we have your correct address on Fair Oaks Avenue in Madison?
Correct.
Okay. You received a citation for speeding 16 to 19 miles an hour over the limit. Do you understand 16 to 19 over the limit for speeding case?
Yes.
All right. This citation carries a penalty of 4 points and $124. Now, 4 points is 11 to 19 over the limit. $124, Ms. Wade, that's $50 plus costs. The forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. So you're at $50, so you're on the low end of the scale. Do you understand that as well?
Yes.
Okay, now for these citations, the court basically gives the defendant a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. So instead of 11 to 19 over the limit, the court would reduce this to 1 to 10 over the limit, which would be 3 points instead of 4. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. The reason why we do that is that a lot of times if you were entering a not guilty plea, the prosecutor would make the same offer. We're just as a way of just kind of making it easier for everyone.
Okay.
So, and if you would like to basically, if you'd like to accept that offer, you could either enter a no contest or a guilty plea, and I would reduce the amount to 1 to 10 over.
Okay.
Now, Miss Wade, do you have a probationary license?
No.
Okay, so the point totals on this would not double, so that's good. Any questions for the court?
I've never, yeah, I have some questions because I've never had for one, I wasn't going.
Well, hang on. So I can't hear too much about the case because the prosecutor's not here. And if I learn too much, what happens is that I can be accused of prejudging it, and I'd have to recuse myself for the state. Now, if you have any doubts, and if you have any reason to believe that you didn't commit the speeding citation, what you should do is probably enter a not guilty plea. With a not guilty plea, you'd have the opportunity to speak with the prosecutor. And if you brought up those points to the prosecutor, they could maybe resolve that in a pretrial conference.
Okay.
Is that something that you would like to do?
Yes.
Okay, well, go ahead and enter a not guilty plea. Now, Miss Wade, when we do the not guilty plea, can you still hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, when we do the not guilty plea, we're currently doing the pretrial conferences by phone, and we'll send you notice to your current address. And the pretrial conference, I basically order both parties to attend the pretrial conference. At the pretrial conference, you have to appear, so you can appear by phone. So if go ahead and appear and see if you can resolve it with the city attorney. But if you don't appear, the city attorney will tell me that you didn't appear by phone. I'll find you in default and I'll find you guilty, and I'll find you guilty of the 4 points and the $124. So you want to avoid that by just appearing via phone for the pretrial conference.
Okay.
And we'll mail that notice to you at your address then.
Okay. And okay.
Yep. So just the reason why, because if you tell me the whole case and then you tell me later, I might believe you, and the prosecutor might say, well, that wasn't fair because I wasn't at the hearing before. So that's why it's a two-step process then. Okay. We'll go ahead and enter not guilty plea. We'll send the notice to you at your address, and just go ahead and follow the instructions. And then if you have any questions, you see Mary for Stoughton Municipal Court. Mary's my clerk, and she'll be able to answer questions for you.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for me?
Not at all.
All right. That will take care of it for this evening. You can go ahead and hang up then.
Oh, the next person is Samantha Hidrogo. I'm probably not saying that correctly.
Hidrogo?
Yep.
Did I get that right, Miss Hidrogo?
Yep.
All right. Gonna take me a little bit to flip there. All right. Now, Mr. Hidrogo, let me pull up the first few lines of your citation. Oh, I think I just disconnected. Oh, I got it back. Ms. Hidrogo, do I have your correct address on Norman Drive in Stoughton?
Yep.
All right. You received a citation for speeding on a city highway 16 to 19 miles over the limit. Do you understand speeding on a city highway?
Yeah.
Do you know you understand the fact that you're being cited for 16 to 19 miles an hour over the limit?
Yeah.
All right. This citation carries a penalty of 4 points and $124. $124. Now, $124, that's $50 plus costs. The forfeiture ranges on this is $30 to $300. So you're not quite at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. Do you understand that as well?
Yeah.
You've also received a citation for, there's 4 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Now, the court gives a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. The 10-mile-an-hour leeway, so basically it says if you enter a guilty or no contest plea, I would reduce this to 1 to 10 over. That would result in 3 demerit points rather than 4. You understand that?
Yes.
The reason why we do that is that a lot of times if you enter a not guilty plea and had a pretrial conference with the city attorney would make the same offer. Just kind of a way to streamline it a little bit. You understand that as well?
Yes.
Last question. Do you have a probationary license?
No.
Okay, so the point totals won't double for you. All right. Any questions for me?
No.
All right. Now's the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
I'll do the guilty for the 3 points and the same fine.
Unless what?
The same fine.
Okay, sure. All right. You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Yep.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay. I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. I will accept your guilty plea and find you guilty of 1 to 10 over limit for 3 points instead of 4, and the total forfeiture is $124. Anything that you would like to say to the court?
No.
All right. $124 of forfeiture. Will 60 days be sufficient?
Yes.
All right. We'll go ahead and send out notice to your address. The notice will tell how to pay the tickets, and if you have any questions, if there will be a phone number on the notice.
Okay.
All right. With that, Mr. Drago, that will take care of it for this evening. You can go ahead and hang up.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, the next person is Mackenzie Lemon. There she is.
Okay.
Hello,
Hi, this is Mackenzie Lemon.
this is.
Miss Lemon, this is Judge Matt Rothy for the Stoughton Municipal Court, calling the case of City of Stoughton versus Mackenzie Lemon. Now, Miss Lemon, what I do is I usually review the first few pages, or few lines of your citation so I can get your address.
Okay.
It's opening. Miss Lemon, do I have your correct address on Birch Lane in Menominee Falls?
Yes, sir.
All right. You've been cited for speeding on a city highway 16 to 19 miles an hour over the limit. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yeah.
All right. And you understand that you've been the level over the amount of over the speed limit is 16 to 19 miles an hour over the limit. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
Now, the penalties for this citation is 4 points and a total forfeiture of $124. Now, for the forfeiture, that's $50 plus costs. The forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. So you're not at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. Do you understand that as well?
Yeah.
Now, 11 to 19 miles an hour over the limit is 4 points. What the court does is it gives drivers a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. So instead of 16, 19 miles over the limit, the court would reduce this to 1 to 10 over the limit. That would result in 3 demerit points rather than 4. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you enter a no contest or guilty plea, the court would amend this to 1 to 10 over the limit for 3 points. The forfeiture would stay the same at $124. So you understand that as well?
Yeah.
All right. Any questions for the court?
I don't know if you can answer this, but do you have like when the speed
I don't know
gun was
anything.
left?
Hang on, Miss Lemon.
No.
I don't know anything else about the citation other than the amount and your date of birth, and that's it.
Okay.
So if you have any
Okay.
doubts about the veracity of the citation or what occurred, I would suggest entering a not guilty plea. We could schedule this matter for a pretrial conference with the city attorney then. With the city attorney, the pretrial conference, you can bring up various defenses or why you think that you shouldn't have been cited at all.
Okay. And then do you have to pay for the attorney?
No, it's the city attorney. They're on the other side, so they're your opponent. So because they're your opponent, you don't have to pay for that at all.
Okay.
Is that what you want to do? Go ahead and enter not guilty plea.
Yes, please.
Okay, well, under not guilty plea, I'll order that the parties attended a pretrial conference. Now, Ms. McKenzie, will send out notice to your address. You can appear by phone, but make sure that you appear by phone, because if you don't appear by phone, the city prosecutor will tell me that you didn't appear. I'll find you in default and I'll find you guilty, and it'll be the 4-point citation. So make sure that you appear.
Okay.
All right, so pay attention to the notice in the mail. It will have the directions on when you can appear, and there will be also phone numbers on there if you have any questions.
Okay, wonderful.
All right, with no further questions for me, that will take care of it for this evening. You can go ahead and hang up.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lemon.
Right.
I have 3 people in the waiting room and I'm going to admit them and get their names. So if you can just bear with me for a few minutes.
Certainly.
Hi there. Can I ask the person whose phone number is ending in 6632? Can I get your name, please?
Yes,
Sandra
it's Doug Gavinsky.
The person
Are you
ending,
still
phone
there?
number
Okay.
ending in 6632.
Yes, that's my wife's phone. I can hear through hers, but I can see you through mine.
You're okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, okay.
But I can hear you.
All right. I have one other person. If you can just wait for 1 minute.
Not a
The one
problem.
with area code 715. Can I get your name, please?
Sandra Clements.
Okay, perfect. As soon as the judge is finished with this first person, you'll be next at number 2 after that. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. So Doug Gavinsky is the next person.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. All right, Mr. Gavinsky, my name is Matt Rothy. I'm the Stoughton Municipal Judge. What I
How
do
you
is
doing, sir?
Good. All right, so what I have is let me pull up the first few lines of your citation so that way I can confirm your address. Okay, Mr. Gavinsky, do I have your correct address on State Road 138 in Stoughton?
That's correct.
Okay. You received a citation for speeding on a city highway,
Yes,
1 to
sir.
10 over the limit. That citation carries a penalty of 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. In addition, it also carries a penalty of $98.80. Now, the speeding citations have a range of $30 to $300. 30 is the minimum. You are actually at the minimum forfeiture of $30 plus costs. Although it says
Okay.
$98.80, that other $68.80 goes to other agencies as mandated by the state laws.
Okay.
All right. Now, speeding on a city highway 1 to 10 miles an hour over the limit, that's 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Now, if you have any doubts about the citation or you don't think it was fair or wasn't clocked properly, probably should enter a not guilty plea. On the other hand, I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway because that's often what the prosecutor will offer at a pretrial conference. So instead of speeding 1 to 10 over the limit, what I would do is I would reduce that to defective speedometer, which would be 2 points instead of 3. So it's basically saying you can't go any more than 10 over, but that's usually basically an equipment malfunction as well. So it'll be 2 points instead of 3. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You enter no contest or guilty plea. You understand that?
I do, sir.
Okay. With no further questions, now's the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Guilty, Your Honor.
Okay. You understand and there would be a guilty plea to the defective speedometer.
Yep.
Okay. You understand
Understood.
you understand with a guilty plea I must find you guilty?
Yes, sir. I understand that.
All right. Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. It'll be a defective speedometer. Mary, the statute is 347.41. It's 2 demerit points. Total forfeiture of $98.80. Mr. Gavinsky, anything else you'd like to tell the court?
No, I'm sorry for wasting the court's time. I shouldn't have been speeding. That's my fault, not the officer. He was just doing his job.
So the reason why I ask a lot of times is most people decline that option, but a lot of people want to sometimes just get something off their chest or tell me that, and I appreciate that. So a lot of times people like to appear and just tell me that as well. So thank you for your honesty then. 60 days to pay be sufficient?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll send out notice to your address directing how, where, and when you can make payments. Just follow the instructions and make sure that you pay within 60 days.
Will do, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kaminsky. That takes care of it this evening. You can go ahead and hang up.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the next person
Hang
is
on.
Sandra.
They still have video.
Yeah, I can remove them.
Okay. All right, Sandra Clements.
I'm trying to get her to unmute. I know this was her first time doing this, so she may be having
Technological issues. Technical issues, sorry.
technical, yeah.
The technological was a parody I was watching once.
Shoot. Yeah, she's,
*6 is how you unmute, if she can hear me.
I think she should be able to hear you.
Ms. Clements, if you would like to unmute there and you're using a cell phone, you can hit *6 to unmute yourself.
There she is.
Ms. Clement, this is Judge Matt Rothy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir.
Okay, good. I can hear you as well. Okay, first time using Zoom?
Well, yes.
Okay, well, good. We'll walk you through the procedure. Because of COVID, we've been appearing via Zoom. Court's actually scheduled to come back into session in September, so but it's been an interesting experience. So if you have any questions throughout this process, just feel free to interrupt me and let me know.
Okay, first of all, what is Zoom?
Oh, Zoom is it's a website that allows people face-to-face contact. Now, since you're on your phone, I can hear you, but I can't see you. I can see my clerk and I can see some other defendants. So Zoom is just kind of a computer program which allows everybody to appear in person and allows what they call FaceTime. So you can actually see what the person looks like and what they're saying.
Okay.
So for your screen, it just says Sandra Clement, and I see a gray circle with a little with a phone receiver on it. So that's all I see. Like you can't see this, but there's actually a cat in my clerk's office, and so she's apologizing, but that happened. So, Miss Clement, so this is initial appearance tonight in Stoughton Municipal Court. The three plea options that we usually take are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. Now, guilty means that you're admitting guilt and you just you admit that you're guilty of citation. I'll review the police report and then I'll find you guilty and then impose a forfeiture and points. No contest, that means that you're not admitting guilt, but you want it to be over with tonight. And I will find you guilty and I will impose a forfeiture and point amount. Not guilty means that you don't believe the city could prove their case, or you'd like to speak to a prosecutor, or you just think that the citation is just plain wrong. So a not guilty plea, what I do is I schedule the matter for a pretrial conference with the prosecutor. We're still doing those via phone. So in other words, if you enter or not guilty plea, I schedule a matter for a pretrial conference and you call the prosecutor at a certain time and then see if you can resolve your case. If you can resolve it, you'll send the results to me for my approval. If you can't resolve it, we schedule the matter for a trial. Understand so far?
Now tell me again if I plead guilty.
I find you guilty of the citation and I impose an appropriate forfeiture. And there would be, if you found guilty, there would be 4 points issued your driver's license. So.
Yeah, I see that. Does it make any difference if I have never had a ticket before?
In this case, no. It doesn't really matter. So you've been cited. So that the prosecutor might take that in, but I can't like bargain with this, or I can't really do anything to the citation other than maybe lower the fine. The fine amount on this is actually $111.40. But what that is it's actually $40 plus costs. The forfeiture range on the failure to yield a right of way. When I say $40, so the city keeps $40 and it sends the other $71.40 to various other agencies. Now, on this, the forfeiture range on this citation is $20 to $40. So you're actually at the maximum amounts for your forfeiture. So there's not a whole lot. I could probably reduce the forfeiture a little bit, but there's nothing I can do about the other citation, but the points or the nature or reducing it to something else. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Now,
Yeah, I understand that part. Yeah.
in addition, failure to yield the right of way. If you're found guilty of this citation, what happens is that the Department of Transportation mandates that you take a traffic safety class. That class is out of my control. The DOT sponsors it. You have to go through the Department of Transportation class. Otherwise, you can lose your license as well. Can you understand that if you're found guilty, you'll have to attend the class?
I have to attend a class. Is
Yes,
that what you said?
that's what I said.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's all right.
I talked about the class. I talked about the citation. So you've never received a citation before, is that correct? Or it's been a long time if you have.
No.
So what happens
No,
is
correct.
in municipal court, basically these are all civil cases. So I cannot put anybody in jail or anything like that. So the only things we look at are fines and driver's license points. So what happens is if you enter a guilty plea, you meet with the prosecutor. If you and the prosecutor are unable to reach an agreement, then it comes before me and we have a trial. The city presents their evidence, probably the police officer testifying, and then you get to question the officer, and then you get to call any other witnesses, including yourself. I listen to all the evidence, and I determine if you were found guilty of failure to yield the right of way. Do you understand the trial process?
Does that mean I have to go to trial?
If you enter a not guilty plea and we're unable to resolve.
Oh, a non-guilty. Oh, yeah. No.
Right.
Okay,
All right,
gotcha.
so, and then the final thing is, do you understand what failure to yield the right of way is?
To do what?
The citation is for failure to yield the right of way. Do you understand what that is?
Right. Yes, I understand that.
Would you
Yeah.
like me to explain what failure to yield the right of way is?
Okay.
Would you like me to?
Well, if I know to yield the right of way, I would do that.
Okay. So yeah, failure to yield the right of way means somebody has the proper direction in traffic, and failure to yield means that you didn't yield to the traffic when you should have. That's what you're being cited for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, good. You understand that then?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for me?
No, I guess not.
Okay. Now is the time, Mr. Clements, now is the time I take your plea. Your three plea options would be guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Guilty. Okay, yeah, guilty.
You understand, Ms. Clements, with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Do I understand what?
If you enter a guilty plea, do you understand that I have to find you guilty?
Yeah, I guess.
Sometimes defendants will plead, and then when I give them a fine, they want to take it back. So that's why I have to answer that question.
Oh, I see. Okay.
All right, Ms. Clements, let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, Ms. Clemens, I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty.
Okay.
All right, anything you'd like to say before I decide on a sentence?
I guess not. I know I was supposed to yield.
Mhm.
And when I see the stop sign, I always look and I never go until it's clear. And it was clear and it was there. That's all I can say.
Okay, so based upon your representation that you never received a citation, I'm going to reduce the forfeiture to the minimum amount. You're currently at $111 or yeah, $111.40. I'm going to reduce it to $20 plus cost for $86.20. That's the
How much?
lowest possible amount I could go.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the figure.
$86.20.
Oh, okay. Where do I
We will send you a notice directing when and where you can make payment. Now, Ms.
Okay.
Clements, I'm going to grant you 60 days to pay. Do you need more time than 60 days?
Oh, no, no,
Okay.
I don't.
All right, make sure that you pay the citation amount within 60 days. Because otherwise, the only recourse I have is to intercept your taxes. So I'd rather not do that.
Okay.
All right,
Now, I do have a question for you.
fire away.
It has nothing to do with, well, yeah, it does too. But the front license plate got really smashed, and so the paint on the numbers are smeared. So do I need to get a new plate, or can I just paint those numbers?
I have never had that question before, but I think the best thing for you to do, Ms. Clement, would be probably to contact the Department of Transportation and just indicate that your license plate has been damaged a little bit and they should send you another front plate.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think that would be the best solution.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Okay. With no
Well,
further questions,
Well, thank you, sir.
thank you for appearing tonight.
no.
We'll grant you 60 days to pay. Watch the mail for that notice. And if you have any questions, there'll be a phone number on that notice.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
God
Go
bless.
ahead and hang up.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
Yep, bye-bye.
Is that it?
That's it. There's
right.
one gentleman that planned to appear, but he did not make it. So I'll let you know when we get to his name.
All right. Let's go through the list. So what happens is the cursor, I minimized the Zoom screen and it literally is right over the arrow. So I have to like arrow down rather than scroll down. So, all right. Fernando Adame is a bond forfeiture. Angela Addison is a no contest plea sheet. All right. Let's take a look. All right. So basically just wants to take care of this. I'm treating it as a no contest plea and we'll do the face amount of citations and leave the restitution up to the victim. If they want to file, that's fine. I actually probably be able to hear those pretty soon if they want to, anybody wants to file a restitution request.
Okay.
All right, next is Alexis Joel Alicia Gomez is a bond forfeiture. Marcos David Hilario Mercado is a plea sheet. I remember my updated plea sheet today, Mary, so I'm doing well. Okay, it's kind of a plea for, didn't think it was going that fast. Let's see how fast he was going. 20 to 24. Go ahead and reduce that, Mary, to 11 to 19 over, 4 points instead of 6. Same forfeiture.
Okay.
All right. Tyson Tyrone Anderson is a default judgment. Wow, our plea sheets are getting popular. John Andreas.
He's 16.
All right. Let me check a look at the citation. Basically, he's intimidated and all right.
Yeah, I think they didn't give an amount. The report is kind of vague.
It's 4 points. Oh, imprudent speed. That's 4 points. We'll reduce it to, when he says 32, I'll treat that as 7 over. So I'll treat that as 1 to 10 over, 3 points instead of 4.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Caden Oswald is a bond forfeiture. Adrian Baika is a bond forfeiture. Melissa Baker is a bond forfeiture. Benjamin Beisner is a default judgment. Reese Bittrick is a default judgment for both citations. Levant Gregory Boyd is a default judgment on both citations. Nancy Boyes is a bond forfeiture. Roddy Boyes is a bond forfeiture. Zachary Braunschweig is a bond forfeiture. Joshua Burkle is a default judgment. Sakura Burton is a default judgment. Colin Booser is a bond forfeiture. Elena Kennedy is a default judgment. Lorian Carter is a default judgment. Isaac Castronovo is a default judgment. Melanie Chamberlain is a default judgment. Alex Charleston is a bond forfeiture. Sandra Clements was found guilty. Abigail Klein was a bond forfeiture. Dylan Conwell is a default judgment. Kiara Crane is a bond forfeiture. Heather Dargo is a bond forfeiture. Candace Deck is a default judgment. Michael Denyu is a plea sheet. All right, we're on a roll. There's a lot of citations here.
Yeah.
It might be one of my biggest. It might be one of my biggest dockets ever. I haven't had one of these in a long time.
No, it's not.
It's not?
It's the largest on Zoom, but it's not the largest we've ever
Okay.
had.
Well, I just see 10 pages. Usually there's 6.
I know. It's been a real struggle just to keep it all straight.
Yeah.
He says a lot.
Cruise control set at 74 and is 55-mile speed limit. Okay, what I'm going to do, it's basically a plea for points. So I am going to reduce it to 74, which would be 19 over. I'll consider this 11 and 19 over, which would be 4 points instead of 6. Same amount of citation with 60 days to pay. Let me verify that that's what he was going, but I'm almost willing to bet that it would be 20 to 24 over. And there it is. Yep, 11 and 19 over, 4 points instead of 6. Same fine with 60 days to pay. Okay, let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Leslie Dietzman is a bond forfeiture. Stephen Donlan is a bond forfeiture. Akari Drifsky is a bond forfeiture. All right. Dolores Duist is a bond forfeiture. Jerry Duist is a bond forfeiture. Cale Drierson is a default judgment.
This is the name that I had mentioned to you a while ago, so
Yeah.
just to keep that in mind. It's quite a bit of tickets.
For October, let's order him to appear.
October, okay.
And if we're gonna order him to appear, actually have probably our bailiff go and serve the notice on him. I know I don't do that very often, but I think it's time.
Okay.
Parker Fath is a bond forfeiture.
There's one, his father, Thomas.
Yeah.
Harrison, he's another city municipal violation default.
Oh,
It-
okay.
it's the
Default
same.
instead of bond forfeiture.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. David Feder, bond forfeiture. Ruth Forsyth is a default judgment. Michael Foss is a default judgment. Sharon Franklin is a default judgment. Randall Frazier is a default judgment. Jeremiah Fry is a default judgment. Mr. Kavinsky are taken care of. Daryl Goins is a default judgment. Jamie Gray is a default judgment. Peter Gulseth is a default judgment. Morgan Hack is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Alec Hahn is a default judgment on both citations. Niccolo Hall is a bond forfeiture. Hang on a second. Trevon Marquise Harold Halverson Williams, default judgment on both citations. James Hammis is a default judgment. David Harris is a default judgment. Derek Hawkins is a default judgment on all five. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 citations. Edward Hyman is a default judgment. Aaron Henderson is a default judgment. With the thefts, of course, they can file restitution. We'll start hearing those again. Actually hearing those in person, I should say. David Hoffman is a default judgment. Nicholas Hansen is a plea sheet. All right. For living in rural Montana, I suppose that the speed limit is higher than. So let me check out. I'll give them a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. Oh, 20 over. I'll reduce that to 11 to 19. Same forfeiture, and then 4 points instead. Joseph Hoho is a bond forfeiture. Tab Hollibush is a default judgment. Jeremy Hoskins is a default judgment. Alicia Jelinek is a bond forfeiture. Ashton Johnson is a default judgment. Brianna Johnson is a bond forfeiture. Rick Jolivet is a default judgment. Jordan Jones is a default judgment. Whitney Jones is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Keelea Kearns is a default judgment. Thomas Kirby is a bond forfeiture. Daniel Kirk is a default judgment. Levon Clinker is a bond forfeiture. Mark Nipfer is a default judgment. Taylor Nipfer is a bond forfeiture. Jason Knott is a bond forfeiture. Caleb Conkle is a bond forfeiture. Corey Kramer is a default judgment. Kateri Kraus is a default judgment. Jackson Joseph Kress Russick is a bond forfeiture. Richard Howard Landay is a bond forfeiture. And then Trevor Lecton is a plea sheet. Okay, I'll take the defendant at their word that they got the registration updated the next day. Court's own motion will move to dismiss the citation. Megan Ledwich is a default judgment. Shannon Lewis is a default judgment. Thomas Marsh is a bond forfeiture. Lewis from Martinez Ramos is a bond forfeiture. Michael Madison is a bond forfeiture. Jesse May is a default judgment. Dennis McCarville is a bond forfeiture. Spencer Michael Meyer is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Christopher Mills is a default judgment.
Actually, I'm sorry, I should have crossed him off. He called late today to enter a not guilty plea.
Not guilty plea is entered for what Christopher Mills.
Correct.
Court will rescind its default judgment, enter not guilty plea, and schedule the matter for pretrial conference. Jonathan Mishka is a bond forfeiture. Daniel Mitchell is a default judgment. Wilfred Montelo Molina is a bond forfeiture. Matthew Mosteller is a default judgment. Anthony Noren is a default judgment. Patricia Nowak is a default judgment. Nicholas Nolan is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Michael O'Neill is a bond forfeiture. Taralee Palombi is a no contest with a point reduction.
That's all she did is write point reduction. So I'm assuming there's no written explanation or anything, just point reduction.
And this was Taralee Palombi. All right. Oh, there, point reduction. Okay. 16 to 19. And then let me see the plea sheet. Probably points for brevity. Yeah, okay. one to 10 over, 3 points. If only everybody was that brief in their explanations. All right. John Paquette is a bond forfeiture. Terry Peed is a plea sheet. All right. Basically, request to reduce the points. I'll obligate him. 16-19 reduced that to 1 to 10, 3 points instead of 4. All right. I have another plea sheet for the next one, Mr. Peoples. $16 to 19. All right, please lower the fine. I'll lower the forfeiture to 1 to 10 over, 3 points, same forfeiture. Anthony Peterson is a default judgment for both citations. Sarah Pfeiffer, default judgment. Russell Peen is a default judgment.
Russell Peen sent his plea sheet, but just said guilty and no explanation. So
Okay, there's nothing I can do with that.
he has a speeding on the second page.
Oh, he sent it in. So let's see.
He just said guilty. I don't think I even scanned it because it just was guilty and that's it.
But he did send something in?
Yes.
All right. Can't do anything about the insurance, speeding. I'll reduce it to 1 to 10, 3 points instead of 4 for actually sending the plea in. Probably was mistaken. Karen Pletta is a bond forfeiture. Lissa Powers is a default judgment. Jeffrey Poley is a bond forfeiture. Tanya Rickelman is a bond forfeiture. Kenneth Thomas Roloff is a default judgment.
He's
Nathan,
actually a bond forfeiture. He paid late.
oh,
today.
okay, bond forfeiture, sure. Nathan Rupp will be a bond forfeiture. Amanda Ruppel will be a bond forfeiture. Chilla Ophelia Marie Sanchez is the bond forfeiture for both citations. Jack Robert Sanford is a bond forfeiture. Patrick Schenecker is a bond forfeiture. Kanya Shu is a bond forfeiture. Valerie Seafelt is a bond forfeiture.
Now, this next person is the only one that was planning to appear but did not.
Okay.
It's another speeding. I don't know.
Okay. I'll give the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Hang on, let me find it. Yeah, I'll give the benefit of the doubt. 11 to 15, reduce it to 1 to 10, 3 points instead of 4. Did Anthony Sloan appear?
Yes, he is the first one.
Okay. Serenity Smith is a bond forfeiture. Michael Smithson is a bond forfeiture. Abigail Spildy is a plea sheet.
This is one, I imagine you just want to enter a not guilty plea and schedule it.
Yep, it's a factual dispute, so under not guilty plea. I just read it like there was another car coming in. I'm like, that's all I read.
That's what I thought, instead of having you read too much. Okay.
Let's see, where were we? Spildy, not guilty. Donald Splinter is a bond forfeiture. Larry Springer is a bond forfeiture. Scott Stilka is a default judgment. Sawyer Strutzel is a bond forfeiture. Stephen Stutz is a bond forfeiture. Sue Swenson is a default judgment. Alfonso Douglas Taylor Helwig II is a default judgment. Celso Reyes Talias is a bond forfeiture. Donald Tenjum is a bond forfeiture. Jeffrey Thrall is a default judgment.
He actually entered a guilty plea, but no explanation. or
Okay,
anything.
guilty plea, the court will accept the guilty plea and find him guilty. Matt Thruman is a default judgment for all 3 citations. Elena Tots is a default judgment. Alexander Tronis is a bond forfeiture. Diane Sheeran is a bond forfeiture. Rachel Tuberville is a default judgment on both citations. Jackson Tucker is a bond forfeiture. Austin Avagi is a bond forfeiture. Jennifer Volenberg is a default judgment. Gail Walker would be a bond forfeiture. Jordan Welbus is a bond forfeiture. Chad Werrett is a bond forfeiture. Tristan White is a default judgment. Alex Wodurski is a default judgment. Dylan Edward Abai Williamson is a bond forfeiture. Dustin Wilkie is a default judgment, and John Zymet is a bond forfeiture. I think that covers it. I can grant it continuance. That was almost back to normal.
Yeah, 9 appearances. That's pretty good for Zoom.
And you see, a lot of times I'll spend time with it explaining this, but if it's just speeding and they were where I was just kind of getting to the point for all of them. So
yeah, it's just
all right.
All right, that's it.
Thanks, Mary. I will see you in a month, right? We have
we've got a little break, so that'll be nice.
Good.
Get caught up. All right.
See you
Thank
next month. Thanks, Mary.
Bye.
Bye.